Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video, we are going to be doing a Sims 4 speed build and we're going to be building a summer beach hut. I kind of envisioned this being more of a rental vacation property rather than an actual home you could live in. However, it does have everything you would need. So if you did want to live in this gorgeous little spot, you certainly could. But I just envisioned this more of like a couple's retreat away from home. I had a couple of pictures saved on Pinterest of real life properties and I tried to translate that as best as I could into The Sims, but if you're a builder in The Sims, you'll know that there are certain things that you can't always get to look as good as what they would in real life. Now, one of the things I really wanted to make sure this had was one of the images I had this open windows in the roof and there was like no ceiling upstairs, so I deleted that part and I really loved how it opened up the room. It made it feel really nice and airy, and I did go in and add like quite a lot of windows in terms of at the front and back. They all have these glass large open doors, so I really loved how that turned out, and I wanted it to have this hut effect, so it all to be made out of wood or natural resources. So I tried to use as much of those kind of items as I could, but I still wanted it to have a little bit of a luxury feel to it. Not over the top luxury, but I still wanted it to feel like a nice spot that you would come away to. I was really indecisive when it come to things like windows and doors, so I did cut out a fair bit of footage where I was just going through changing windows, especially the windows at the sides. I kind of only, all the pictures I had just had windows at the front and the back, and the sides of them didn't, but I didn't like how that looked, so I had to come in with some windows, but it made it just a little bit difficult finding what I wanted to work with. So I ended up going through so many different options. I did like the ones that I settled on in the end. And inside, I wanted it to be very open plan. So I wanted to make sure that it all kind of like would come together and work. I'm just going around here adding on a lot of the things at the back are the same as at the front. So I was just jumping backwards and forwards and copying those. And I wanted it to have, I don't know what this would be called, but like this walkway into the sea. I didn't take it as far out as what I probably could have done, but I took it out far enough that your Sims can chill there and then go into the water, and I just thought that this would be like a dream holiday location. I merged this palm tree like kind of into the stairs a little bit, and I didn't really it didn't work. The stairs didn't work as well as I wanted them to. Like all the images I had kind of like slanted ladders. Now when I tested it by putting ladders in, I didn't like how it looked, so I went with these ladder like stairs, but they just didn't, they laid out a bit further than what I would have wanted them to go, but I worked with it. Now we've moved on to landscaping, which I thought I was going to struggle with, in all honesty, because I haven't built in Sulani in a very long time, and I usually go quite OTT with landscaping in a lot of my builds. So when I first got to this part, I was a bit like, oh, how am I going to landscape a beach hut? But I ended up just filtering items by the island living pack, and thankfully there are quite a few nice little bits here. So I didn't go as overboard as what I normally would, but I added in a little bit of greenery because the area surrounding the lot has quite a lot of greenery going on in it. So I kind of just used a lot of those items, and I love some of the larger rocks that you get in debug. So I had to pop one of those down. Further along in the video, we do kind of like merge a fire pit into that, and I play tested it and it all worked, and I thought that this would be another fun thing to sort of do whilst you're staying here. Here I'm finally coming back to the exterior of the property and adding in those windows. I went for these ones, but just shuffled them around a little bit to get them to work how I would want them to, so that they look nice both inside and out. But jumping back to the landscaping, I did really like how that worked, and something I hadn't noticed before, like I said, I've not built in Sulani very often, is these little sand patches. So I kind of added them around the edges of certain areas where it would just look like if your sim has walked, the sand is bunched up and things like that. At the end, I did move the rocks that are near the front of the property because I weren't sure if there'd be any issues with your sim getting in and out, so I did shuffle them around. But let's jump inside. I wanted this to have a really light wood effect. I kept the same paneling that we've used on the outside on the inside, as I wanted to just kind of imagine that the whole building was built with wood. So we went with that, but then I kept the floor nice and light wood, and then I went for the same for a lot of the furniture. I did want to add in a little hint of a coastal vibe in here, so I come in with some pale blues and some yellows. Upstairs we've got some oranges. Talking of upstairs is my favorite part of this house, which is strange because it is usually the kitchen. I did really love doing this kitchen though. You'll see where the coffee machine is, I kind of like squished two cabinets together to get it to work so it goes into this island, and I thought that it would make the coffee maker unusable, so I was just going to leave it there for aesthetics. But when I was playtesting, the coffee machine works perfectly. Talking of playtesting, I have fully playtested this build and I haven't come across any issues, so I have already uploaded it to the Sims 4 gallery in case you would like to download it. All of the details for that is in the description box below. But the kitchen come along quite easily. Like I said, I wanted this whole build to be quite open plan, and I really liked how it looked. Now, I didn't go full on with clutter. Usually I like to make my builds look very realistic and very lived in, and I feel as though you achieve that in The Sims by adding in lots of decor and clutter. But because I envisioned this more of a rental, I didn't want to go in and add a lot of those kind of items because they just wouldn't be there if you come and rented the place. Of course, if you lived there for a week, eventually it would have more of a lived in look to it, but I wanted this to look quite fresh. So I didn't go overboard with the clutter, which was a bit out of my comfort zone for me, but I really loved how everything come together. I loved this sofa and how nice it looked with the little yellow chair. This little table that I placed down next to the sofa, this is from the Pet Shop pack, and I haven't actually noticed this, but it's kind of like, it's a style that I really like, but I did size it down one because I find some of the end tables in The Sims just look a bit too big for what you're wanting to use them for. Like, I literally just wanted to use this to place down some books, so I did size it down one, but I quite liked how that looked, especially in the grey, and then that inspired me to bring some grey in through the rug as well. I wanted to keep it all quite minimalist looking because it is a rental. But then we're going to go in, just add a few items of clutter on the shelf under the TV. I have kind of added things that you would find in a rental property that would be useful, so like the little smart speaker. I popped down the headphones because they would probably be something that you would bring with you if you was traveling, and then just a few little knickknacks so it looks nice and pretty. And then I'm just going to go around, add the cushions to the sofa. I added a few more down. Although I built this with just in mind for a couple come in here, like there's just a double bed upstairs, I did still want to make sure that there was enough seating that potentially you could maybe come away here with another couple and perhaps they're renting a separate beach hut, but you all meet up, or maybe you've got friends living here so you could all meet up for meals and things like that. So the outside area, there is plenty of space for a couple of Sims to enjoy a barbecue. Now the bathroom here is only quite small, so I did just go in with a shower. I didn't feel as though a bath was necessary. Of course it is nice though, like I find having a bath when I'm on holiday quite a nice luxury. You can really enjoy it and chill out, but I wanted to keep this, like, obviously you're in a sandy location, so it's nice and quick and easy to get a shower quite often. So I just went in with a shower, and again I kept the bathroom nice and simple. Those little towels I placed down, I love sizing them down and placing them near a sink, and then they look like face cloths rather than towels, so I added them down. And then we're going to move on upstairs, which, as I mentioned, was my favourite part of this build. So we started off, I didn't know where to place the bed down because I didn't want to place it down against any of the windows. But then I wanted it so it was looking out one of the windows. So if you were like laying on the bed, chilling, you can look out at the beautiful scenery. So I decided to kind of create this wall divider, but it ended up looking quite like a large headboard, but it just sectioned off the room a little bit without fully enclosing it in. And I just loved how it looked once I placed down the bed and the side tables. It just felt really, it was just ended up being my favorite part of the house. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite part was. So then we're just going to come in. Like I said, I don't want to overly clutter it up, so I did find this part a little bit tricky because it's quite a large room. So I was like, what am I going to add in? But I ended up adding in these drawers. I kind of just imagined if you were staying here for a week or two, you've got plenty of space to unpack all of your clothing. Of course, we don't actually have to do things like that in The Sims, but it's good for realism. And then I wanted to make sure that I added in lots of nice spots to sit and chill, as obviously it is quite a retreat location, so I'd imagine you just spend a lot of time unwinding and relaxing. So I wanted to make sure there was a few nice little spots set up to do this. And then of course we've got to have some plants, because you need to put plants in your builds. Now these little boxes, I love popping these. I know they're not actually boxes, I think they're like in the seat section, but I love using them as like the Kallax style boxes. So I popped those in again, and then I just wanted to mirror the items. I like the cabinets and the flowers and the lights on both sides, because it just looks matchy and it kind of suited this room. But then on the other bedside cabinet, I did add down some more personal items like a water bottle, an alarm clock. I can't think what else I popped down there. There was a third thing, I'm sure of it, but I just popped them down because they kind of look like someone's already staying there. And then the same here, I added a few bits that you would bring with you, so maybe a couple of books and your toiletries. So I popped them down amongst the stuff that would have already been there. I didn't go overboard on the balconies. I just popped down some seating and some candles, and then soon we're going to jump on to both of the outside verandas, which I really enjoyed doing. On the front one, I did add in a full-size table and chairs. I imagined that because this is just in front of the kitchen area, this would be such a nice spot to sit and have breakfast in the mornings. And this is also where I come in and moved those rocks and sand piles, just because I know certain items of decor or landscaping in The Sims, your sim will just walk over them, and then certain stones and things they don't. And because I hadn't used these ones before, I wasn't 100% familiar with how it worked, so I thought I would just shuffle them over anyway. And then we're going to move on to the back part, and I loved how this turned out. This would be such a nice hosting spot, or even if it is only just a couple, such a nice spot to sit and have dinner of an evening. So I popped down the barbecue, the little bench style table and chairs, and then just two of these outdoor sofas. I think these were from one of the kits, and I really love all of the items in that kit because they work so beautifully together. I am terrible at remembering kits and stuff pack names. I will try and work on this. I did also pop down the outdoor shower. I just thought it would be a good little thing to add in. And then I added in some rugs. Towards the very end of the video, I do end up going in and adding a few skill building items around the house and the outdoors, because I just felt as though I'm not quite sure what else you would do here. So I did come in and add things down like the guitar, the painting, the easel. So there's a few things that you can use to skill build. Obviously there's lots of things you can do in Sulani, but I just thought they would be nice to add in. So I also decided to add in the yoga mat as well, as I just kind of imagined that would be a nice thing that's included in the rental, because it's, even if you don't do yoga, when you come away here, it'd be the kind of place that you might take it up. And then that does take us to the end of the video. So I really hope you all enjoyed watching. This was a bit of a different build for me, but I really enjoyed doing it. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see me build in The Sims, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you hit that subscription button. I am so ready for more summer style builds, so watch this space. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love, take care, bye bye.